I'd like to call to order the Graham County Board of Education regular meeting November 3rd, 2020. Mr. Moody, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Be happy to. Let's pray. Dear gracious Lord, just thank you for this time, this day. Thank you for all you've done for us, Lord, your marvelous grace. Thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who came and died and rose again for our sins, Lord. For those who believe on that promise, pray for those that don't know your saving grace, Lord, they'll come to believe on you, Lord, so they can have eternal security in you. Lord, thank you for our freedoms we have here, Lord, and the men and women who fought and died for our freedoms. Lord, I pray that you be with our military and their families. And Lord, I just pray that you be with our school board today and the decisions they make, Lord, and give us wisdom and godly understanding on how to do, what to do during these times, Lord, of the turmoil, Lord, with this pandemic and election and the things that are going on, Lord, that, Lord, just hopefully it'll soon be over. But no matter what, Lord, no matter who wins today, Lord, just have us understand what Proverbs says, that the king's heart's in your hands, Lord. You will turn it the way you want it to be turned. And that even though we may not know what the future holds, you do, Lord. And we know that you hold the future. And just have us always just trust and have faith in you, Lord, that you know what's going to happen and you know what's best, Lord. And no matter what, you're on your throne. Thank you for all that you've done for us. Bless us today. Bless our kids. Bless our staff. Give them extra peace and understanding and grace today, Lord, and throughout this year. And be with these kids and their families and what they're going through. And again, we just can't thank you enough for being the gracious God that you are, Lord, because you're the best. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I do the approval of the minutes, all three of them, at the same time? Can I do that, Ms. Davis?
They should really be taken separately.
Should be separate. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 1st, 2020?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 23rd, 2020?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Now, do I have a motion to approve the minutes for October 6, 2020?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Now, do I have a motion to approve the agenda today, with the exception that Ned Long will not be here today? He called in.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, are there any individuals or groups to address the board today? Okay. The floor is now open for public comment period. Do I have a motion to close public comment period?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, reports and discussion items. Just send the principal in. Carry the reins.
Pick one. There we go.
Morning.
Mr. Max. Okay.
Can I take a mask off, Paul?
Please do.
All right, so I've got a few updates for y'all. First off, I'd just like to thank Ms. Edwards and Ms. Owen and Mr. Nelson for your service on our board. Good luck to you today, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for the time that you spent serving our kids. So the first grading period ended, and it ended at about the time that we went home. So at the high school, for that 3-week period, we froze instruction because at the time that we were sent home due to the corona outbreak, we had 135 kids in the high school that were failing at least one class. So we froze instruction, and teachers began to work with kids like they had been, but really trying to stress them to get their work made up. And so when the report cards came out on Friday, we had 48 kids that had failed one class. And that's a whole lot more in line with what's normal. Normally, it's usually around 35 to 40, so a lot of kids use that time to make up assignments and get where they need to be and get their grades up to passing. So I was pleased with that. Still not where we want to be, of course, when the new 9 weeks has started. We're a week and a half into it. And again, we already have students that are digging a big hole and just not doing work or not showing up on their days they're assigned to be there. So it is a challenge for everyone in all 3 schools, I'm sure. So we did hand out report cards on Friday and yesterday, and then if a parent doesn't see the report card, I sent an all-call out last night. They can't come by the guidance officer, call the guidance officer, and we'll get that out to them. And we are going to mail report cards, which is unusual in high school. We normally don't do that, but for all the students that failed the class, we're going to mail a report card home to them. We have sports starting at the high school tomorrow.
Wow.
Volleyball and cross country will actually officially kick off their season.
Thank
It is going to be a lot different at the high school with volleyball in the gym. The state mandate says that we can only have 25 fans in the gym at a time. So this week there are AD meetings across the state with the North Carolina High School Athletic Association by county, and I think our county meets with them on Friday. And then Friday afternoon, there's a meeting of the Smoky Mountain Conference Athletic Directors. And they're going to come up with a plan for our conference as to how we will determine who the fans are. And there's several proposals already been put out there. And, you know, it's not best case scenario by no means, but we will work on something and work with, try to get as many parents in the game as we possibly can. I will tell you that staff, teachers and faculty that are working the game do not count in the number of 25. And of course, teams and coaches don't either. So it'll be different, but we're going to make the best out of it.
What about cross country that's outside?
So the numbers outside are like 100, but it's also based on area and square footage. So they can be spread out a little bit more, but there's also guidance with cross country as far as how many people can be there in a certain area. And of course, they are required to wear masks at all times during sporting, and even coaches, players, like at a volleyball game, when they go out of the game, they have to put a mask on the bench. Cross country runners have to have a mask on at the finish line, at the starting line, you know, when they're lined up to start, and then they take it off as they compete, but they have to have one on to start the race. So it's a different time for sure.
It sure is.
We were able to give the ACT at the high school on October the 24th, and we had 47 kids participate in that, which is a really good number, so we were happy about that. Miss Cody and the guidance office are working diligently with our senior class, and they started applying to college. A lot of them, the majority of them, have got their FAFSA done or they're working on that, and that's a great thing. And I am very proud of this senior class. We have got a large number of students that have already made a commitment to military service in almost every branch. So this group, I think it's up to 6 or 7 that have already committed or in the process of having their background checks done. A couple of them have already went to MEPS and taken their oaths. So very proud of this group of kids. And from there, we have Veterans Day coming up next week. Of course, we always have a Veterans Day program. And kind of this year, the way things are, we can't have our normal Veterans Day program, but our student council is going to put together a tribute to our veterans. It'll be a video that'll last 5 to 10 minutes or so, and it'll be posted on the RHS website and on the RHS Facebook page, and I'm sure Ms. Knight will put that on the Graham County Schools Facebook page too. So, and that'll be ready for Veterans Day next week. And that's all I've got, except school improvement plan. Let me go ahead and do that, or is that later?
Just go ahead and do it now.
Okay, so as far as the high school improvement plan is concerned, there are no changes to our school improvement plan from last year, and the reason is because we did not complete, we're not able to complete the indicators that we had put on the school improvement plan last year due to us getting out of school like we did in March. So our school improvement plan is virtually the same as it was last year, with the exception of the graphs and things at the very front. So we're presenting that to you to be approved today. If y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those. Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Mathis. Now, we vote on that, the school improvement plan, Ms. Davis. Now,
Do you want to wait till they're all presented? Just wait, okay. And then you sign them and the superintendent signs them.
you got it.
Yeah.
Come in, Ms. Tanya.
How is everybody?
There, we're fine.
Good. So, school's crazy, I'm sure you know that. But I'm just like Mr. Matheson, the 3 weeks that we were out of school, we did not give the kids any new assignments. We spent our time trying to give kids time to do makeup work and decrease our number of failures. And so we were able to cut those by about 75% during that 3 weeks. We didn't want kids to get out of the hang of doing work, and so if they were passing, we gave them some reading and some skill development in math assignments to do. So we were pretty successful with getting those returned as well. So, however, this week we have a lot of kids that are failing again. And we extended the deadline last week for them to complete their assignments because a lot of kids were without power for a day or so. So, but we still have a lot of kids that are failing. Teachers are spending an awful lot of time making phone calls and getting parents in them. Today we are doing check-in just for today. We'll complete those at the end of the week. So that's kind of taking a lot of our instructional time this week, but hopefully that will give teachers a lot of information on where we need to be and some skills that we need to reteach or move forward. Several positive things. One of them is that for the school year, we have only had 2 discipline referrals. So those have really went down. So that's always a positive. We have 4 students right now at the academy. And one of them that it will be moved to the high school at Christmas. So they're working really well too. We also have 4 teachers right now that are working on their master's degree, 2 of them in administration, and of course Cody Williams is doing an internship and helping me as an assistant principal, and he's doing a wonderful job. So, sports, as Mr. Matheson said, start this week. Volleyball will have tryouts this week, and they're going to play 16 matches, which is a full season, and the first match is on November 16th. Cross country is also starting this week, and they should have a normal season also. So we're waiting to see how all that pans out, and of course volleyball will go on with whatever the high school decides to do about the limits on how many people can be in the gym. So currently, as of this morning, we have 29 students. We have 174 students at the middle school. We have 29 of those students that are fully remote. After the 3 weeks that we were out, we had 3 students come back to school. We lost 3 students to remote, and we have 3 students that started coming 4 days a week. So we are trying to get as many of our students as we can, especially the ones that are failing back 4 days, if we can accommodate them in the classroom and still do social distancing. So we've been pretty successful at that. So hopefully we can take a few more and get them there. We also have Ms. Tonner, who is in her 2nd year of teaching, that has been selected to compete in the region for the beginning teacher of the year. So we're in the process of helping her with some recommendations, and she does a fabulous job in 7th grade math, so that's exciting for our school. And school improvement plan. The school improvement plan. Since we are part of the NC STAR program, that is I love the NC STAR because it makes your school improvement plan more of a working document that you're continuously looking at it, continuously making changes. So when I first came to the middle school, I didn't change any of their goals. I pretty much just kept the ones that Mr. Buchanan had and added a few of my own. And so Jeremy Gibbs, who is our regional consultant, when he came and worked with us, he's like, y'all have way too many goals, and let's weed out and see what you've got. So we were able to go through. We had accomplished most of our objectives that we had met as you will see. And so this year we have three main goals that we are working on. One of them is on page 5, and it is the school implements a tiered instructional system that allows teachers to deliver evidence-based instruction aligned with individual needs of students across all tiers. I know that we have heard a lot for several years about MTSS, the multiple tier system of support. The elementary school does a fabulous job with it. The middle school has not, and that, I also want to iterate that that's kind of across the board in other counties too. It's just a little bit harder for middle and high school to do the MTSS, but we're still trying to work on that with Mr. Gibbs, and so it's just hard this year to implement anything new, but
And
that
part
is
of that
still
is
on our
the
list.
number of faculty that you have.
That limits.
MTSS, in order to implement that very effectively, you have to have a lot of additional people to run interventions. And she has a set number of staff.
Right. So it makes it a little bit difficult, but that is one of our goals, and to start working with kids, so giving them some interventions. On the next page, on page 6, the second goal is that teachers are attending the students' emotional states, guide students in managing their emotional, and arrange for supports and intervention when necessary. That's probably our most important goal right now, is we're seeing lots of kids with social emotional difficulties right now in the state of things. And so we're just trying to be really aware and make sure that we're trying to be in contact with kids. And we have been pretty successful being able to contact all of our kids. We have one student that I have not been able to contact. I have sent the resource officer out, and he was in contact with the parents, but not the students. So we are still trying to lay our eyes on that student. Hopefully that'll happen today. So that's on what I'm deeply concerned about today. And our last goal is, I think it's page 16, and it is all teachers use online, hybrid, or blended learning as part of a larger pedagogic approach that combines the effective socialization opportunities within the classroom with enhanced learning opportunities available through technology. So that is a very timely goal. We're making lots of progress. Our teachers have learned so much, and working very collaboratively when they find something new, and so I think we've come leaps and bounds in the last few months, just being successful in implementing remote learning. So, any questions?
We appreciate y'all with what the teachers are doing in high school, middle school, and elementary. I mean, it boggles my mind. I don't know whether, I taught 39 years, but not under these conditions.
It's difficult. It's difficult for everybody. It's difficult for the kids, difficult for parents, difficult for teachers. I think, we're very fortunate to live where we are.
Yeah.
I said we gave out candy for trick-or-treating on Saturday, and to be honest, all morning Saturday morning, I was really dreading going. I was like, oh, I really don't want to do this. And it was wonderful. It was a great experience. The kids were so excited, seeing their little faces light up. It was something normal, and so polite. We just kept talking over and over that I don't think there was one child that came through there that didn't say thank you so much when you gave them candy. I mean, we just have good kids, and
We do.
very fortunate. So it was a fun.
Thank you, Ms. Walton. Send in Mr. Nod or Jamie, whichever one's here.
And the better of the two.
That's debatable. It's good to see y'all. And this is not a political statement. I'm a former U.S. history teacher, and I support the American way. And this is election day, so.
Good.
As far as at the elementary school, when we came back on the 26th, we came back to 4 days a week for elementary kids, and we were able, because our 6th grade is our smallest number of children in the whole district, just as a grade level. Even though the governor said that K-5 could come back to a Plan A, we were able to allow 6th grade because of just the small numbers to also join them 4 days a week. And our teachers, even though it's just been a week, they feel like that they are making more progress with having the kids in the building 4 days a week and remote on Wednesday. So we do feel like that is a good thing for our kids and our teachers. As of this morning, now this can change by the time I walk back across the parking lot, but I just want you to know that my school nurse reported to me that as of this morning, we have no kids in quarantine, no staff in quarantine, no known exposures, no COVID cases at the elementary school that we are currently aware of. We're zeroed out, and we're thrilled.
Good.
So, like I said, that can change before I walk across the parking lot, but we need to celebrate it while we've got it. Because we had the kids back 4 days a week, now we were able to successfully start interventions with our kids who are struggling in reading and math, so that they get what we call double dipped. They get their core instruction, and then they get more instruction in reading and math on the level where they're performing to try to fill some of those instructional gaps. So that's something that we were able to start this week, so we're very pleased about that. Being back in the building with children 4 days a week has allowed us to really get back to school. We really feel that way. And also with the school improvement plan, I don't know that you've reviewed it. There's not a whole lot of change just because of the way the school year ended last year. We have 23 total indicators in here. We've met 14 of those indicators and have 9 active, which are 9 that we're currently working on. And what we did add was just a lot of support that we're giving our teachers naturally because of just the way that education's been since March. We've incorporated a lot of professional learning with Google Classroom and the Google Suite. That's just something that kind of naturally has occurred because of online remote learning. And we've got a lot in there about our interventions because now that data that we're getting from intervention has to be put into the ECATS system, which is the state system for that houses everything about a child, so that if they're identified as a student who has an educational disability and requires an IEP, all of that academic data has to be in that statewide system. And so that's new for us this year. So all of our intervention data is going into that statewide system so that if a kid moves from Robbinsville Elementary to Murphy Elementary, their academic data from their interventions and their growth or their lack of growth will follow that child from school to school. So that's just started this year, and that's new in the language in our school improvement plan. Do you have any questions for me?
What do your remote numbers look like?
Our remote numbers, I think that because of the rise that we had toward the end of the 9 weeks, I think we have a few more children remote than we would have had we not had the spike. But as far as per grade level, we're probably averaging about 10 children per grade level would be our average. So not as many as we had starting out, but we're still averaging about 10 children per grade level. I will just say that some of the parents that we have with remote learning are doing very well. And we have people who are trying very hard to support their children with remote learning. But what we're also seeing is, I know that other groups have talked about some of their failure rates, and we have a higher failure rate for the first 9 weeks at the elementary school than we've ever had. And we used the 3 weeks to try to get caught up, to try to make contact with families, to try to support families while they worked on missing assignments and things like that. But just being honest, we have the group of families who are very dedicated to getting those things accomplished. But then we also have a group that will not return our phone calls, that have us blocked. And when you're 7 years old, if you have a missing assignment on your computer or an instructional video that you need to watch for your reading instruction for the day, if someone in your life doesn't take responsibility to give you access to that information, it's not going to happen. And so what we're finding is at the elementary school, for the group of children who fall into that category, we've exhausted just about everything that we have to try to get them caught up or to get them access to their education. We've done home visits, we've given out hotspots, We've done everything that we can to get those children access, and there's just nothing we can do to make headway. So, but again, I don't want to lump that into a large number. That's a small number of children, but it's still, if they were in our building every day and remote wasn't an option, we can make sure that those children are getting access to their education. So, any other questions for me? All right.
Thank you, Ms. Hooper. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the school improvement plans as presented by Mr. Matheson, Ms. Walsh, and Ms. Hooper? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Ms. Francine?
Hello, good morning. Of course, I come with exciting news that you probably already know about, but I'm still excited that we got our grant with Europe for another 7 years. I made a printout. This is a chart showing the years that we had the grant and what grades it will serve. I wasn't sure until we actually got the grant how it was going to be spread out. They still haven't told us the finance end of it yet, but we will start this year probably with services not till February, because we are working on a new grant and how it's going to spread out amongst the grades. We will be 6th and 7th, 10th, 11th, and 12th this year. So I will be all the way down with the elementary school as well as the middle school. I'm excited about that. Get to work with some of our young people again, younger people. The next year, we'll still have 6th grade served, but we will move into 7th and 8th as well, and it will be 11th and 12th. My last year in 6th grade will be there again, 6th, 7th, 8th, and then 12th. And then we'll move on our way up again. The focus from what they tell me so far, we meet every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock to discuss how the grant's going to play out. But it looks like there's going to be a large focus in STEM and computer science. Strong emphasis on math in the STEM. We asked about STEAM, including arts, because we did before, but they said this time our focus will be STEM. So I plan on meeting with all the principals and staff up here, and we figure out what direction will be best for our school and how we're going to proceed with this. Like I say, right now it's still in a very planning period, as well as we're still trying to work through Grant 7 of what they're calling Gear Up 101. We want to call the next grant Gear Up 2.0. We've been doing virtual college tours since, of course, we cannot go in person and take bus trips. It's been a little difficult. We've offered a lot. During the remote period while we were out, we offered a full week of virtual tours and admissions with at least 4 to 5 colleges every day that the students could check in and see everything about their school. We didn't have the attendance that we would have liked to have had, but there again with the remote learning, we understand that, right? We even had a full day of just app where the person went around on campus and showed people. We had one student participate that day, but we hope that person goes ahead and finishes there. We had our FAFSA days. The parents could come one by one, or we did virtual appointments for them and help them with their FAFSA and their financial aid. In September, so I didn't get to be here for the last board meeting, we had the Student Success Agency, which is one of the 8 programs that we run. We had a kickoff for them. This is a virtual success program that the students can text an agent, so to speak, that they have. I can actually go back and read every text that they send to make sure they're appropriate. They're very well supervised. Usually we have one large assembly. Everybody comes in the auditorium, we kick it off. Every student who attends or attended this time got a $10 gift card. And then they were put in for a drawing for a pair of AirPods, and one of our students, Cambridge Sellers, won the AirPods. She's very excited. This time, because of us being the AV plan, I had 22 sessions that I had to plan to be sure that every student who wanted to attend was able to. And we did it. It was a big success. We got written up in the SSA that how good it went for us and how successful it was. So that was one really good program we did. We're still doing the homework help after school. We're having a lot of kids attend because, like Mr. Matheson said, they're finding out that they really need to pass this semester. So they're trying to catch up on all their work. We start credit recovery today. We only have 4 students who have to do credit recovery, and that's wonderful. Everybody else has rescheduled it or has come through at the last minute and passed. So that's really good statistic. My glasses back on, Bob. We had our countdown to college for the month of October. That's over. So now here we go with applications and just double checking and making sure that they're in the right direction and see where they want to go. Any questions?
Congratulations on the
Thank you.
grant.
Very excited.
Yes.
Very excited to see where it's going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a big
that's
cast.
good news.
Good news.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Kevin's going to be next to his director's report, but also, if it's okay, can he do his construction update? Because he needs to go meet with them at 11 o'clock.
Sure. Good morning. Morning, Mr. White.
Just a little bit for you this morning, but as far as testing goes, got another email to say, got another email from the Federal Department of Education basically saying, don't ask for a testing waiver because it's not going to be approved. But who knows what will happen. Things are going to be really difficult, this testing, especially here at Christmas, the testing for the high school. I can just about tell you that it's probably, the schedule's going to look much, much different than it ever has in the past. We, at least this year, we don't have to test the final exams. So you've got your CTE test and then you've got your 4 main EOCs that we'll have to get in. But, with us being remote on Wednesdays and that hitting in on the testing window, that essentially means that, we're just going to have about 4 days to try to get all this testing in. And then try to get kids separated out and social distance and all that stuff. So it's going to be a big ordeal this year, just trying to get this testing finished. But right now, check-ins are going. We're high school actually. Michigan High, the high school, this is Madison County, finished the check-ins last week, and the elementary and middle school are actually going through it right now. One thing that the state did allow me to do differently this year was, and I'm sure Mr. Karen knows well about this, but DPI trains me, and then I train the test administrators in order to give the test. Well, this year they have granted an opportunity for me to do it virtually, and so I've been doing that, and that's actually working really, really well. That way, when we gather as teachers and I go to train them, everybody's not having to wear masks and all that type of stuff, so we're able to do it through the computer. So that's going really, really well, and that's one good thing. But we'll update you further on testing. I know I was told yesterday that we have a kind of an emergency testing meeting on Thursday morning, so who knows what will change Thursday morning, but I'm sure things will. If you don't mind, we'll go ahead and jump to facilities real quick. This is just something that we want to keep on the agenda probably monthly for the next year or so. But as far as facilities goes, there's not really a whole lot that has changed since our last meeting with the Board of Commissioners. However, the noticed bidders, in other words, the bidders, the bids have went out. The bids are due back to us by 3 o'clock on November the 19th. And so, that being said, I guess at the next board meeting, we will be bringing to you the win bid. And as Mr. Moody said just a moment ago, we're actually doing a pre-bid conference this morning at 11 o'clock over at high school, where all the companies that might be interested in putting in bids, they can just meet with them and answer questions and things such as that. So It's actually where I'm getting ready to head to. But according to the paperwork that was sent out to the bidders, the construction is set to begin in March of 2021 and finish by mid-March of 2022. So, is there anything else anything you think of I need to say? Any questions about the construction or testing or anything else? Also for next month, every free second that I have, I'm working on a facility needs survey, and this is a beast, to be honest with you, but I will be bringing that to you for approval next month, where I can get that submitted to the first of January. Anyway, other than that, that's it. So.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Come in, Miss Holly.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Have you found Toto?
Yes, I have Toto safely at home. Before I start my presentation, I would like to show y'all what I would like to revert back to last year when we got shut down. We sent quilt squares home with our students, and we had them made into what we have dubbed the quarantine quilt.
So each student did.
Several students did squares, and then some of the staff did squares, and we had them made into a quilt.
Is that not beautiful?
And Vanna, if you will turn around and show that to the camera too, that way. Yes.
Very good. Wow, yeah, it's gorgeous.
Are you gonna hang it at school?
We're trying to figure out where to put it
Good.
now. We were real pleased with the way it turned out.
Hang it like a tapestry.
Thank you, Ms. Moody. Okay. I would like to give you an attendance update. At this point, we only have two sites that are open. Fiscal hasn't been able to start their after-school program this year. But with the other two sites, we have 114 slots, and out of those 114 slots, utilizing just the two sites, we already have 115 slots, but with the two sites, we have already had 114 students that have attended the after-school program at least one day. My mom and dad always told me that if you look, you can find something good in everything. Well, our attendance this time of year has never been better. So that's the bright spot in COVID for the after-school program. The kids are needing the help that they're utilizing. In September, we held 2 Google Classroom sessions, one at the elementary school and one at the middle school. We also filmed them and put them on our Instagram and on our Facebook, where people can go back and watch them if they need to. Now in October, it was interesting because we had programs starting from the beginning of October to the end of October, and everything ended up being this past week. So we did, on the 26th and the 27th, we had a pumpkin decorating contest at the elementary and the middle school. We had some very interesting pumpkins. You can go on our Facebook page or on our website, and you can see some of the pumpkins that the students did. We had a virtual quality program review with Tamara Mathis on the 28th, and she met with principals, parents, and she's going to meet with me one day this week and tell me the particulars of that. Then on Saturday, we did trunk or treat, and we gave out 618 treat bags. We had 250 flyers made up, and we ran out of flyers. So we gave one to each car, so we know that at least 250 cars came through. Then at 7 o'clock Saturday night, we held our first Lights On After School. We did a video with the kids, and it's also posted on our website. Miranda Moody produced it, and the kids starred in it. We showed it, and then we showed a viewing of Hocus Pocus, and had popcorn for the after-school families. That went over well. And that pretty much covers what we did in October. So I will have another attendance update next month, but I'm expecting to go over the 115 students in the program.
And we anticipate the possibility of a grant request for proposals coming out hopefully this month.
Yes.
And usually they're due in January or February, so we're looking for that and hoping that will come out so that we can reapply for this grant as well.
Yes, and if the proposal comes out this month, that I will, pretty sure that it'll be another 3 years. So we're hoping for that. And I was also contacted by Dogwood Trust, and sometime this week I'll be working on starting on a small grant to augment our program. That's about it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver.
One thing I want to say, since we have started, the students have started getting out at 2 o'clock, we have run our program from 2 to 5:30 instead of 3:30, or when school lets out at 3 and 3:30. We started basically doing double shifts. We'll have a group come in from 2 to 3 or 3:30, and then another group will come in from 3:30 to 5:30, because we had parents that could not get here because of work. But we are adjusting and we are learning.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll be last, if that's all right.
Sure, you're the last one?
Yep. A couple state school stuff. I don't know if you've noticed in front of schools, we have new temperature checkers up. I don't know how to call them, but they look like metal detectors.
Thermal scanners.
Thermal scanners, that's it, thank you. So, I use the redneck name. The kids actually think they're metal detectors too, so we're gonna run with that until they figure out otherwise. But they
will
work.
now because you're live.
Do what?
They will now because you're live.
Well, then hopefully they're doing their work. But they can scan up to 60 or 70 people a minute, so it's really good. We're not doing the guns anymore, the handheld. So they're working really well, and it's also helping the schools out, so we're not having to put so many people out there on duty. So it's freeing up some teachers. We've got to change a few centers out to outdoor centers, but they're working really well. We've got 3 at the high school, middle school campus, and 3 at the elementary. We ordered another round of masks, but we're doing gaiters this time, black knight gaiters. They're supposed to be in this week, which will be really good because I think the kids like those better. Plus, with the cold weather, they'll have to keep their heads warmer in the morning. So those are coming as well. With sports starting up, I'm having issues with gym doors. I'm fixing to put alarms on the gym doors because I have problems in them they want to prop the doors open for whatever reason. And even last night, I went to go run and nobody there, and the door was still propped open. So I've warned them for the last time, so just to let you know, I'm putting alarms on the doors, which what happens is if they propped open for more than 30 seconds, there'll be an annoying alarm until somebody shuts it. So that's just not just our coaches, some of our coaches, but just community coaches too are bad for that. So I am putting alarms on our gym doors at the middle school and high school. And also, and this might have told you this, but Michelle self is about to finish up her teaching degree. She's a teacher assistant at the academy. She teaches. We pulled her out to do that. And Mr. Matheson has helped us out by we've moved ISS to the academy so we can have another body down there to have enough people to have eyes on. And plus, Nancy has got the okay from the doctor, so we've got her back to help down there as well. So once Michelle gets her certification, it gives us another certified teacher at the academy, which will help. So, and actually this line is graciously has another, like she needs something else on her plate, is mentoring her during this process. So that's going really well. And I believe she's halfway through this week, is she not? So. Hopefully done. Food truck. Yes, we been searching. You know, this is a dream or idea that this makes the kids, for whatever reasons, the parents don't have the gas money, or hopefully they may not care enough to go get their kids food. And this night I had this idea that what if we had the ice cream truck mentality of getting food to kids? So she went with the idea of the food truck and started this drive. So me and Chris started researching and trying to find deals on food trucks. We found some here, found some there. We ultimately found people who do this for a living down, unfortunately, in the southern tip of Texas. And they do really, this is all they've done for several years because a lot of restaurants are not making it, so they're resorting to food trucks. And he builds them 4 or 5 a month, and as soon as he builds them, he sends them out. Well, he built one for himself, and we're talking a Mac Daddy food truck, bigger than the rest, outfitted with better stuff. And so we did a face tour of it a couple weeks ago, I believe, and thought this is perfect. And he heard what we were doing and the project we was doing to help kids, and he agreed to sell what he did for himself to us, and wow. He gave us a better deal on it. And so it's really good. So me and Chris headed out to the border of Mexico last Tuesday in an Explorer, and 22 hours later, we made it. And well, we took a car, so we took tools with us in case something was to happen, and we break down, because there's parts of Alabama and even worse in Texas where there's absolutely nothing.
That's correct.
But anyway, we sure didn't want to get stuck in Tennessee, because I want to get right there as quick as possible. So, that's all right. It was very interesting. So we went down there, got it. Again, we dodged the hurricane, and we dodged the drug cartel. So we thankful for both of those, and got it, and we made it back in 3.5 days. Could have made it 2.5, but we had some bank issues, but it's perfect, not a problem. We drove back at a max speed of 60 miles an hour. It took about 24 hours to come back, and the truck is perfect. It's ideal for what we need it for. It's big enough to either cook food in. Everything inside is brand new, stainless steel, commercial grade stuff.
Still got the stickers on it. I mean,
Yeah, we'll outfit it out, but it's big enough to haul the food we need to, or put clothes in there if we need to take clothes to kids who need it, especially winter. It can be used as a mobile classroom. It can be used as a mobile emergency unit. If we need to use it, or if there's a natural disaster or something, I mean, it can be used for so many things. Even on sides of the fundraisers, or it can be used, like I said, with sporting events to sell food out of, or concessions, whatever. It can be used as a multi-vehicle, but it's just a great truck, perfect truck, and been well taken care of and done. Actually, the guy that just texted me while we was talking, is asking everything was going, and real good guy to deal with. So, but I think y'all are going to be able to see it here in a minute when you do the tour, and I think you'll really be really impressed with it.
and there's still some things we need to do the outside. I mean, we're gonna have to repaint, and there's still some sticker residue and stuff like that, because I mean, it was a used truck that they converted over, but it's ideal for what we want to do with it. And so your contribution, the contributions from the GoFundMe account, we flipped a ION grant from Dogwood Health Trust into it, and then, the tribal council made a contribution. So between that and a little magic that Lester can work to make it all come out, we're gonna be able to have a food truck and hopefully get it on the road before too long.
Oh, true, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, we drove it straight. We stopped one time, slept about 4 hours, came on back and, drove all day Friday. Like I said, no problems whatever. Chris likes the money, he wouldn't let me drive it. So, it's ready to go.
Well, and I'm gonna say that I appreciate that Robert and Chris would just take off and do something like that. You know, that shows their commitment to the school system and to our kids, and I appreciate that.
It's gonna be a ministry, is what it is. So it's gonna be good.
Chris told me that he's gonna set it up so we can go through it when we go to the middle school. So that'll be good.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Moody. Okay, is that everybody that's out there? Okay. All right. The Indian Education Program Spotlight and Policies and Procedures, we're not doing that because
Well,
Mr.
we're
Long.
gonna do the policies and procedures, Mr. Green is gonna take care of that.
Who is?
Lester.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so we're down to Indian Policies and Procedures, Impact Aid. Mr. Green.
This will be real short and sweet. This is the policy is the Native American Policies and Procedures. The U.S. Department of Education calls it Indian Policies and Procedures. They require that we approve this policy every year. There's no change to the policy other than one small change, and this was a recommendation from Eric Hill, who's our regional consultant, who actually retired last week, so I wished him well. He made a recommendation, and you will see that it's highlighted in yellow. This is 5 pages. It's the same statement, but it's in a couple of different procedures. But what it states here is an email will be sent to the tribe and the parents notifying them of all posted website materials. So anytime there's any documents or any changes related to the Indian policies, procedures, we'll put that on the website and we will notify them by email that those documents and those changes will be on our website. You'll notice that on the last page, the last line there was revised on October 22nd this year. Just above that, there's a renewed date of December 3rd last year. If you approve this policy, I'll change that date and then we'll forward that on to the U.S. Department of Education. Any questions about the policy?
You can just probably go on with your next.
Okay.
You've got everything there.
Yeah, we got it. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Green? Do I have a motion to approve the Native American Policies and Procedures relations with tribes and parents of students residing on Indian lands as presented by Mr. Green?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Mr. Green. Now you go ahead.
All right, now what I'm giving you is the uniform budget. On or before June 30th this year, we had a board meeting where we approved an interim budget. We operated on that interim budget until the uniform budget has been developed. And again, the uniform budget is all the funds that we have. If you'll look at this document that I've given you, the first page is just a cover page. This is the uniform budget for fiscal year 2021. Flip to the second page, please. I'll just read the first section there so we know what we're talking about. This is the budget resolution. The budgeted operating expenditures, capital outlay expenditures, and revenues on the following pages are hereby appropriated for the operation of the school administrative unit for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021. Okay, flip over to the next page, which is the first page that is 8.5 to 14. These are the operating expenditures for the uniform budget. And I'll go over each fund individually. First fund there is the local current expense fund. The budget is $1,060,000. That's $1 million that we received in allotment from the county. It's $20,000 for fines and forfeitures and $40,000 for timber receipts. If we go over to the next column, you'll see Fund 8 there. This is a fund that we account for our grants, which includes Gear Up, NC Pre-K, Indian Education. But the total for our Fund 8 budget is $1,004,393.16. So next column over, this is a budget expenditure for the State Public School Fund. Total there is $10,548,361. Next column over, these are budget expenditures for the federal fund. Budget there is $1,413,247.73. Next column over is the budget for child nutrition. The budget for that fund is $1 million, and that's been consistent for the last several years. You'll see there's no amount there for capital outlay. It's on the next page. We'll flip over, we'll look at the total expenditure for capital outlay. Total budget expenditures for capital outlay is $274,000. When you add capital outlay with all the other funds, the total capital outlay and operating expenditures for fiscal year 21 is $15,300,001.89. If we'll flip to the next page, I'm not going to go over this in a lot of details of budget and revenues. You'll see that when you examine this, that the budget revenues, budgeted expenditures for each fund are the same. But again, the total budget for fiscal year 21 is $15,300,001.89. And if you adopt the uniform budget, Ms. Knight and I will sign the certification. Any questions about the uniform budget?
Anyone have any questions before we vote? Then do I have a motion to adopt the fiscal year 21, FY21 uniform budget?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Mr. Green.
I would like to say something before Mr. Green leaves, and this is a certificate of achievement that he has received, and his program also, Ms. Beasley and Ms. Gibbs. They work very well together, work really hard for our school system. This is a recognition of excellence in management, and it's for having a clean audit and his fiscal practices being just superior. And we get this recognition about every year, and we've continued to get this recognition this year. So just want to share that with the board and publicly say how much I appreciate our financial department and what they do to keep us out of financial jail. But we do appreciate it because it's not an easy job, and it's not been an easy job for several years, trying to balance a budget that is almost impossible to balance. And so I really appreciate Mr. Green.
Yeah, I just want to say that I really appreciate Susie Beasley and Lindsay Gibbs. Kim Beasley helps out You've
No one
got
else
Denise Moody with child nutrition. They just really take a lot of pride in their work, follow policies and procedures. I just really appreciate them, and I wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Thank you, Susan. And I'll thank Ms. Gibbs also. Personnel, Ms. Knight.
So during closed session, I'll be bringing to you some names for a few personnel. One will be for exceptional children teacher assistants, also substitute and volunteers.
Board policies, Ms. Davis, you're on.
All right. If you go to the attachment to the agenda and add policy, go to the bottom there, and just add policy 4400. And then attendance. It's the attendance policy. Okay. Your first policy, student and parent grievance procedures. Basically, this policy changes because the federal acts didn't change, how you implement the federal acts changed. So this policy just eliminates what's called unnecessary actors. If you'll go to B5, for example, that's a new definition of parent. A lot of the policies would say parent, guardian, uncle, whatever, but there's a new definition of parents, and it just eliminates the necessity to determine whether the policy was inclusive of the caretaker of the child. So that's brand new, and that's a good thing.
Do we have these?
Oh, I'm sorry, they're in your folder.
Oh. I'll be all right.
You're just wanting to get the lunch.
No, I was just wondering.
I'm sorry, yeah, okay, the folder. And that's what, in the attachment, and in the folder too, I've added the attendance policy. It's the last one in the folder.
Okay.
So,
Sorry for the interruption.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Continue on.
And also, they using the word throughout these policies today, grievance, is instead of saying the employee with an issue or a student with an issue, whoever has an issue is a grievance. So that's all changed throughout this policy. But, you know, the guts of the policy are still similar. It's a student and parent grievance procedure. Responding to complaints, policy 1742. Number 7 is completely new. And policy 1742 is what the board has established for addressing a complaint. So the overall is the general approach. 1742 is what the process the board has established for dealing with complaints. And the reason 7 is new is that procedures for reporting and resolving complaints of discrimination, harassment, and bullying on the basis of sex, disability, and other identifiable characteristics has changed in other policies we addressed last month. So, responding to complaints, it's what the board's done to come into compliance with the many different policies for the type of complaint. Okay. The grievance procedure for employees, policy 1750. The overall approach to this policy is the intent to reduce potential areas of grievances and to establish and maintain recognized channels of communication between staff and administration. So with employees who have a grievance, this really does address lines of communication and attempting for informal resolution. But if informal resolution cannot happen, then these are the steps for it to go up the chain. And there's nothing drastically changed in here except terminology for grievance. Then, for example, D. D is new. And everywhere in our old policy that had school system is now the word administration. And then if you will go to E, go to E, the process for the grievance. C has been revised to address if there's a grievance against the superintendent. So the board directly deals with that. What's been removed is any other process before that. Okay, prohibition against retaliation, policy 1760. What is new here is the whistleblower on a misdeed of the school is protected under federal law, provided that it's a good faith reporting of wrongdoing. Okay. The federal law doesn't provide for any sort of discipline if it was a mistake or bad faith, if it was bad faith. So this addresses the federal law for the whistleblower, and it protects the good faith reporter of wrongdoing. Okay. When it's a malicious report, what's changed in here is that the board reserves the right to discipline employees who know or have reason to believe that the report is inaccurate. So your whistleblower who in good faith reports wrongdoing is fine. But your whistleblower who has been, or wouldn't be really a whistleblower, would be someone with a malicious statement, you can reserve the right to discipline that employee. That's very different. That is very different. Okay. Then policy 4001, equal educational opportunities, is completely rewritten. And the reason it's rewritten to be in compliance with new federal laws implementing old federal acts. And again, the last few months of policies you've adopted have addressed old federal acts, but it's new federal procedures. And so we've had the Equal Education Opportunities Act of 74, Title IV Civil Rights on Religion, Title VI Civil Rights on Color and National Origin. So all those acts, we're still in the business of education. We comply with those acts, but this is just adopting new federal laws. Then policy 4400, attendance. If you'll go to section E of your VAT policy, and by the way, attendance is something that's important to the school, and you've all tried to get a handle on it over the years, and if you look at just the last page, how many times it's been amended, and that's because you're children here to educate them. So if you look at E, attendance status, just take a couple minutes and read that. It's what Robert Moody presented to you in the last session, and you did an emergency adoption, so this time you could adopt it. If you'll remember with the attendance policy, the only thing we really added was remote learning. Yeah, and that's it. And Robert's here if you have any questions, but it's an attempt to, I think E goes to the heart of trying to get a handle on the remote learning and attendance. And so when you adopt that, I'm sure as time goes on, you're addressing other remote issues. This can be refined, but it's ready to be adopted if you have any questions for Robert or Angie. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session? We don't have to vote on those.
No, you just vote on policy 4400.
Oh,
Right, was that now?
I thought it was supposed to be.
Robert presented it last meeting
Oh,
in
okay.
October under the emergency.
That's right.
So I think if you could go ahead and adopt it this time.
Do I hear a motion to approve the attendance policy 4400 as presented by Mr. Moody last month and as presented by Ms. Davis today? So moved. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, now do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Pursuant to the provisions of North Carolina General Statute 143, 31811A3, and 143, 31811C, I move that the Graham County Board of Education go into closed session to receive advice from M.L. Davis, attorney for the Graham County Board of Education, which advice comes within the purview of the attorney-client privilege. The advice will be general legal advice about legal issues or legal matters. Pursuant to the provisions of North Carolina General Statute 143, 31811C, I move that the Graham County Board of Education go into closed session for the purpose of considering personnel matters as defined in and allowed by North Carolina General Statute 143, 31811A, 6, and North Carolina General Statute 115C, 321.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We're now in closed. All right, Ms. Knight, personnel.
Yes, I would recommend that you employ Crystal Hooper in the EC teacher assistant position.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve Crystal Hooper and in the exceptional children's?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
I recommend that you employ John Hardison as a substitute teacher.
Do I have a motion to approve John Hardison as a substitute teacher?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
I recommend that you approve Carlin Matheson as a volunteer.
Do I have a motion to approve Carlin Matheson as a volunteer?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
I recommend that you approve the following 3 people as 21st century volunteers: Chandra Bowen, Josiah Phillips, and Carly Anderson.
They have a motion to approve the volunteers for 21st century: Chandra Bowen, Josiah Phillips, and Carly Anderson.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
And I recommend that you approve for 21st century substitutes: Mike Upright, Sheila Stiles, Ellen Woods, and Emmy Miller.
Do I have a motion to approve substitutes for 21st century: Mike Upright, Ellen Woods, Emmy Miller, and Sheila Stiles?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. That's it. Announcements, Ms. Knight.
Our next regularly scheduled board meeting will be on December 1st, and that will be an installation of new board members, and you will revote for board chair, vice chair positions. And then today we'll be serving lunch right after when we adjourn. And then we'll be touring the middle school building and the food truck for those of you who'd like to attend that afterwards. Just want to take this time to reiterate publicly how much I appreciate the service of the 3 of you that brought me and wish you good luck in the election today, and certainly are biased and hoping that you return to us because you've been a good board member. And Sharon and Deb, appreciate your service and what you've done for the Graham County schools and kids, and you've made a difference by being here. I love you, and we certainly appreciate you. Wish you
It's been
well.
a privilege to serve.
Enjoy.
That's all I have.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?